Coach, just what were your overall thoughts for tonight's win?
I thought we played really, really hard. I thought we played very connected. We wanted to get to the basket and points in the paint. 52 points in the paint is a large number. I thought we did a really good job rebounding the basketball tonight, and those were 2 points of emphasis coming into the game. Thought we did a good job not settling from the perimeter. Bench play was excellent. Jalen Graham's had great matchups tonight, and he certainly capitalized big time from an offensive standpoint. And then I thought Jalen did a really good job on the glass with 7 boards and 2 block shots. So overall, really, really good performance by a lot of guys across the board. So happy, especially, we've talked a lot about how historically we've been so good in the second half. And for whatever reason this year, in the games we've lost, we have not been good in the second half. And what's the reason for that? Because we're talking about the same things that we have for 7 years. And tonight was a step in the right direction, playing better in the second half, coming out on that 17-2 run, which that's a hard thing to do out of halftime, to come out and defend at the level that we did to start the second half.
Against Texas A&M, you had a halftime lead evaporate quickly in the second half tonight.
A lot of people have in Texas A&M. I don't think they've lost an SEC game. And the A&M game, we played really hard. Neither team could score down the stretch. It's not like they were, scoring at will the last 5 minutes. I mean, it was a real defensive, physical battle, and we missed some foul shots. And that team is 10-2 going into tonight. And we went on the road against them and Baylor, and we gave ourselves a chance, but we didn't win the game. The game that I felt, we didn't play well enough against Mississippi State, but the Texas A&M game, our team played and gave everything they had, and we didn't win the game. And that happens when you're playing against a team that's 10-2 and hadn't lost an SEC home game. So, but a good bounce back game for us for sure. So.
Coach, you gave Nick the start today. He had 32 minutes. Just curious how you would assess his play, and then how important was it just to get those minutes for him and just the continuity with the other guys on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, I think that as a coaching staff, we tried to be prepared. We try to have a reason for everything. We don't just roll the dice out on lineups and substitution patterns. We have a lot of non-contact practices for 8 years now. We have catapult numbers where the guys wear catapults, and you can distinguish their energy, the jumps they have, how many miles they go in practice, and that all those numbers go into effect on all this stuff, how we sub. We knew when Nick came back, there's not a high school player, there's not a college player, there's not an NBA player. There's a reason Major League Baseball, when guys are out extended periods of time, send them down to the minor leagues to get their rhythm and their timing. So we certainly felt with a basketball team and a program that does not go live and hasn't gone live, and it's because we want to be fresh in March. And so it's hard for Nick to play 3-on-3 post practice and get rhythm. So really happy that he got the minutes that he got tonight. Happy how his teammates responded with him, and he gives us a little bit of an edge. I mean, he's competitive, and he's verbal, and I think that helps us tremendously.
On the flip side, you brought Ricky off of the bench, and he had 15 and 7 for you. Just curious how you thought he responded to that. I assume well, and just your thoughts on what got him going tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's a scorer by nature, and certainly felt like he came in with the right mentality. I mean, I'm old school. We had everybody but 2 players here way earlier than report time tonight. We never have anybody late. I mean, being 5 minutes early is late for us. I mean, we have never been late for buses, nothing, practice, never, ever. But sometimes guys come in, 5 minutes, 6 minutes before report time. We had a lot of guys here real early. And I can tell you that Nick and AB were here really early. I can tell you Ricky was here really early. And so we talked at the 70-minute mark or 80 minutes before tip off that, Ricky's approach showing up that early, knowing he wasn't going to start, it didn't affect him at all. And that's what you want from a player. I mean, he knows the confidence that we have in him. He played 32 minutes and he deserved to. And, we need him to play well. How this lineup goes, I got to dive into Georgia and look at matchups and see if we're going to keep it like it is, or if we're going to change, all those things. I think with where we are right now, they're still to be determined how we go into, certain games.
Looking at Makai's double-double along with the numbers that Graham put up and then your backcourt, is this the most balanced offense you've had in a game since maybe San Jose State? That was your one game where everybody was available, but it kind of seemed that way. And I want your thoughts.
I think the flow offensively, Kevin, was really good. I thought the defensive connectivity was really, really, really good tonight. I mean, there wasn't a lot of clean looks for Florida. And, quite frankly, they made 4 out of 21 from 3, and 2 of them were on me. And, I made the decision that 13, we were not going to really guard out there because of lack of experience. And so in reality, our team, the guys in the locker room gave up 2 and I gave up 2. So I thought that the following the game plan, defensive rebounding, all those things really, really good. The 6 blocks, very important from a rim protection standpoint. We've been so good blocking shots all year, and that continued. And, getting 8 steals instead of 2 or 3. I mean, we need that activity from a defensive standpoint as well.
Anything in particular impress you about Jalen in terms of having so much offense run through him? I thought he looked pretty patient on a majority of his posts.
I thought he was great. He's a really good passer too. So I think some teams at times can be a little bit reluctant to double team JG just because he's got a really good feel. And I thought he had great matchups for him to guard tonight. And then when, if he plays well defensively and blocks 2 shots and rebounds like he did tonight, certainly he's such a gifted offensive player. And we felt like maybe his foot speed would bother 33 a little bit and bother 13 a little bit. And wanted him to use his shot fakes against Fudge as well. So.
Coach, you mentioned how hard it is to come out of halftime and put together something like a 17-2 run. Just what actually allowed you to do that hot start?
Yeah, I just thought our defense was elite, to start the second half. And then we were able to get out and transition a little bit. And I thought that the easy baskets in transition certainly helped us tremendously. And then, defensively, we didn't give up one back door. And Florida's a heavy Princeton backdoor team. So, we spent, the prep time on no backdoors and no threes. I don't know if I've ever coached a team that we gave up none on a team that's a high volume backdoor team. And as I've mentioned, the guys in uniform only gave up 2 threes out of 19. So the 2 areas that were the biggest emphasis, they did a phenomenal job.
Eric, I think you guys start off 2 for 9, and then after that you shot nearly 70%. What'd you think of the slow start, and then what got you guys going, to where you were shooting so well?
Yeah, I don't want to think about the slow start because it was painful. We couldn't buy a basket. But I also think that, you've got to put it in perspective. I mean, Ricky Council's been one of our premier scorers. He's not in the starting lineup. So I think that, it was to be expected, the changing of the lineup tonight. Maybe it was going to take that group a couple extra minutes to get in the flow and feel comfortable.
And then after that, like I said, practically 70, not 50, but like almost 70%.
Yeah, I thought pace of play, sharing the ball, not forcing shots. We ran a little bit more. Well, we were able to run our man offense, and we were able to find the mismatches that we wanted. We probably ran 17 or 18 different sets tonight. We executed them really well, and when we're able to do that, we're pretty good.
With Nick getting so many minutes, and I know it wasn't his best game, but he got 10. He looked like he had good bursts moving around. What do you expect from him now moving forward here these last few games?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this game was important to him to be able to get 30 plus minutes, and we have a big game coming up on Tuesday, and two big games on the road, and then a big one at home. So every game right now for the Razorbacks is important, and him getting a little bit of rhythm and flow. It's a lot different than playing 3-on-3.
This was kind of I'm sorry. You talked about this kind of normal Super Bowl games. You really couldn't afford to lose to these guys at home. And you won. You're up by 25 at one point. Just how good did it feel, not just to win, but to win, convincingly, and kind of feel good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were flying around. We were diving on the floor, getting loose balls. The guys were having fun. They were competing. So yeah, I mean, I think it's really important. And now the level of maturity coming back, and understanding how well Georgia has played, and how improved they are, and understanding that Roberts is a really good scorer, and understanding that Bridges can really score with his back to the basket, and Aquindo is one of the best transition players in the SEC. So we got a lot of things to go through in a short amount of time, and getting ready for Georgia. And this game's behind us, and now you've got to focus on the next game on your schedule.
Coach, was this a game that you knew coming in that you might be able to lean on Graham more than usual, or was it something you realized, after you got into the flow of the game?
No, I didn't know what he was going to do, but we were going to go to him early, which is what we did. And we threw it in there, and a lot of it was matchups. Fudge is a younger player, and 13 has not played much, and 33, we just felt like Jalen's footwork would be a problem for them.
How much is it just matchups, or is it just, in order for him to kind of put, back-to-back games together like this, is it matchups, or is it, do the other things, rebounding, defending, things like that?
I think it's all encompassing. He went 2 for 2 from the foul line. That's huge, because he was batting .333. He had a heck of a batting average at the foul line. So, it's everything. It's close games, making free throws. It's rebounding your position. It's offensively, Jalen is, and he's got a great attitude too. He just we need him to rebound, because in this league every night, the rebounding is so vital. But he's done a great job working. I've been on him about the free throws pretty hard, and I thought he did a good job tonight converting the ones he had.
We didn't even ask you about Anthony. Maybe we're just so conditioned to him filling up the box score. What did you think of his game? And then after that, Makai had a double-double. What did you think of his game?
Yeah, for sure. Anthony Black, phenomenal. I thought that the steal in the backcourt late in the game, he's starting to get a lot lower defensively. That's something that we've talked about. I brought up the catapult numbers. The last 2 days have been his highest in probably 2 months, as far as he's really working defensively. Because he's an elite defender. We just need him to get a little bit lower. And I thought his ball pressure at half court was probably the best that he's had all season long. And I thought he played offensively confident as well. I liked the shot selection, his ability to draw free throws attempted. And then Makai did a phenomenal job as a rim roller, did a great job being in the dunker spot, having his hands ready to catch and flush on any dump off passes. So, his plus minus, really good, and his rebounding really good.
Seems like going back to Kentucky, Mackay, maybe Mikkel, stepping up and taking some mid-range shots. Seems like AB is taking some mid-range shots and they're having a little success. Is this something y'all are talking about? If the defense is going to play off even guys, if it's not necessarily their comfort zone, going ahead and.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, maybe at times we've been a little bit reluctant to take open shots, and that actually hurts your offensive flow. All the analytics guys will tell you that a mid-range shot's the worst shot in basketball. The good thing is they're not on our staff. And when and most of those guys, by the way, have never dribbled a basketball, called a timeout. When you grow up, if you're over the age of 55, the mid-range shot was the best shot in basketball. And you watch old NBA games and that's all people shot, and a 15-foot wide open shot should be a good shot. Again, regardless of what those guys that went to high academic institutions that are statisticians or whatever you call them.
All right, so we'll turn it over. Take some questions on Georgia real quick.
Before that, you said a bunch of guys were here early. What is report time today on a 1 p.m. tip?
Yeah, we're a little bit earlier than most people. It's an hour and 35 before. An hour and a half is usually early. We had guys well over 2 hours here early, and we had, we met this morning at 9. So obviously, the report time, couldn't be here any later than 11:20 or whatever it was today. And we had guys well before 11, I promise you.
You're talking about reporting to the arena, the locker room stuff.
Yeah.
Butts in the chairs,
Yeah.
not walking in.
Yeah. I guess
Or on the floor, preferably.
I guess Georgia's playing Alabama tonight, so that's an easy chore for them. But this is going to be your second Saturday, Tuesday turn. But the first time you did was back-to-back road games. Now it's back-to-back home games. How different is that?
Well, I think when you eliminate the travel, it's better. But I mean, these guys are so used to playing AAU games where they're playing 5 games in a day, and
Not a big deal then.
I hope not.
Okay. And hopefully it'd be better for you not having to travel. But and then Georgia, obviously they had a horrible year last year. They're much more competitive this year. What have you seen from Georgia? What do you think about the job Mike White's doing?
I think Mike's done a great job, phenomenal job. Their players look like they're having fun. Hill's giving them a lift at the guard position. They went out and got 6 transfers. Those guys have all, they've contributed. Moncrief's an athletic player that gets off the floor extremely quick. And I mentioned Bridges with his back to the basket, with using his left hand, once in a while using the right hand. On that right block, he's really good going middle. And then Roberts is a guy that can really, really score the basketball. And Akindo, probably the biggest recruit that Coach White had was getting Akindo back after he was in the portal. So Bridges and Akindo, 2 guys that obviously played for Coach Crean, and then you add in the fact that they did a good job in the portal of getting guys that play extremely hard, and they've done a great job. I mean, you look at the total wins, they've won some big SEC games, and I think he's done as good a coaching job as anybody in the league, quite frankly.
Eric, I know Florida didn't have Castleton today, but what were you most encouraged by on the defensive end? And then how might you bottle this and take it into a short turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been under the belief that each game has its own identity, and the magic dust from tonight's not gonna be sprinkled into our bloodlines come Tuesday. I mean, it's every game's got its own flow. Every game's got 3 runs. Can we control 2 of the 3 runs? We're one of the best. I mean, every time we do a prep, we talk about how good another team's defense is. And I told our team earlier that, like, everyone's talking about our defense too. I mean, our defensive numbers are phenomenal. And I thought we did another great job defensively, and we're going to have to guard Georgia, a team that'll get out in transition. And like I said, they have guard play. They got guys like You know, Abdul Rahim that can make threes coming off the bench. So we have our work cut out for us.
Thanks, coach.